Hello, McLaughlin families. My name is Julia Dudley. I'm the principal here at MAC. This week at MAC, we are focusing on student safety. We have Red Ribbon Week promoting drug and alcohol prevention. And Thursday, we are going to have school-wide lessons all day around bullying. So I wanted to send home a message to you as well, as October is Bullying Prevention Month. Here at MAC, we have our behavior expectations built around being safe, respectful, and responsible. Safety is very important to us. Our vision statement here at McLaughlin is that we are empowering all to become their best selves through a safe, inclusive, and supportive environment, fostering self-confidence, belonging, and academic success. We believe that fully is our vision here, what we want for our students and for our community. We want our environment to be safe, meaning our students feel free from harm, inclusive, meaning that all of our students feel included, and that we provide support to everyone, encouragement, and help. And so today we're going to be talking about bullying, what it is, what it isn't, all the pieces, so that you can help support your student and support our school community. So I really liked this quote, meaning bullying prevention is dependent upon children, teachers, administrators, parents, and the community working in partnership. I think it's important to recognize that bullying is a complex issue facing schools, and no one person or group can solve bullying alone. So we appreciate your partnership, taking the time to watch this video and to support us here at McLaughlin. What is bullying? These are some really big, important parts of bullying. The one part is that it's repetitive. It happens more than one time. It's intentional. And there's typically a power imbalance between the students involved in the bullying. Bullying can be direct, where it's face-to-face. It can be physical, where students are being hit, punched, tripped. Verbal, that's name-calling, discriminatory terms, or nonverbal, that's threatening gestures. It can also be indirect, or behind students' back. Physical, when you're encouraging classmates to fight someone. Verbal, it's cyberbullying, and we'll talk more about that. Gossip or nonverbal, when you just exclude someone from a group. So there's lots of different ways that bullying can present itself in schools. I always like to just say that there's a difference between bullying and peer conflict. Typically in a bullying situation, the students are not friends. They might have been friends at one point, but typically they are not friends, and that it is very one-sided. So this is a good graphic. I talk to kids. It's very common in middle school that we try different friend groups. We might have a peer conflict, and we absolutely can help your students through peer conflicts. But if both sides are contributing, it's not bullying. And so teasing, this is where everyone's having fun, no one's getting hurt, everyone's participating. We still don't like to see that at McLaughlin because they can become mean very quickly, especially with middle school students that can be very impulsive. And so mean moment, that's when someone's hurt on purpose. Typically it's an isolated event, so we can help a mediation, we can support students through working through that, an apology, or how would we handle that differently in the future, have reflective conversations and typical consequences. We can have a conflict, and this happens often with 11, 12, and 13-year-old students, that they're having a conflict, both sides are upset, no one's having any fun, but they're an equal balance of power. Those are peers, right? They're two friends. Bullying is when someone's hurt on purpose. Like I said before, it's intentional, it happens repetitively, and it is there's an imbalance of power. So that's just some differences. Cyberbullying, unfortunately, it's very common at the middle level. We see what we call a keyboard warrior mentality, often with students, where it's a lot easier to post mean things online anonymously, or even with your name on it, than it is in person. I see sometimes I will talk to a student and say, how would you say that? They wouldn't have in person. They wouldn't have been able to, but it makes it easier for students to bully. And unfortunately, it can happen 24/7. Unlike many of us, when we were students in middle school, we would go home and we would be free from whatever was happening at school. Today, due to cell phones and social media, that often isn't the case. And so we really highly recommend parents are monitoring their students' social media, monitoring apps, monitoring things like if they have a Discord chat group, if they have group chats, Snapchat, all of those things, limiting access, especially at night. Students have access to the whole world through their phones, and so even our very best students can make poor choices under those circumstances. So we definitely recommend supervision in those places. Here are just some statistics about bullying. So 1 in 5 students report being bullied on on school property, according to research. 1 in 6 report being bullied online. I think it's really important. 50% of tweens, which is the population we serve here at McLaughlin, report experiencing bullying at school. So this is a big issue, and we really do need your support helping prevent bullying at MAC and address it. And then this is, I think, very key, that reports of cyberbullying research is showing is highest amongst middle school students. I think that's often when middle school students get access to phones and devices like that, and unfortunately sometimes make poor choices. So again, we really, really recommend that parents are monitoring and controlling their students' technology use. So again, we do not tolerate bullying. We're going to talk tomorrow to our students about the different ways that they can help. We're going to talk to them about all the information we've shared here today. But the big things you can talk to your students about are standing up to bullies, reporting it, and then reaching out. So standing up, we don't want students to be a bystander. That's where you stand up by the side and watch another student being bullied. We want them to stand up. If they don't feel comfortable standing up to the bully, they can always check in with the student who's being bullied. There's lots of different ways that you cannot be a bystander, and we'll talk about that tomorrow with our kids. We can report it. There's ways that we teach our students to report it to an adult. They can report it to any teacher. The front office has anonymous reporting forms or reporting forms with your name. There also is through the Pasco School District app, and we teach our students how to do that. And then reach out if you need help. So make sure if you need help, or if they have a peer who needs help, to reach out and let us know. One of the big things that you can do to help is keep an eye out for your student. This graphic on the side, I know it might be really small, especially if you're watching this video on your phone, so you can zoom in, but it has some warning signs that your child could be a victim of bullying. Really do. I know it feels like your students are becoming older and more independent, but stay engaged. Watch for these signs. Listen to your child. Be supportive. Their truth is their reality, and so make sure to take their side seriously. Again, monitor your social media and technology, and please report bullying behavior. Oftentimes we might not know what's happening, and so we can absolutely support and address it, but we do need to know. I always say it's very helpful if there's cyberbullying happening that we have screenshots, so that's something that you can help provide. You can have your student write down a statement of all of the things that are happening here at school to provide as well, and that really just gives us what we need to be able to address the behavior. Reporting bullying, you can come in face to face. Someone might not be an administrator right at that moment, but someone will take your report and we will get back to you as quickly as we can. You can call our front office. We get a lot of reports that way. You can email your school counselor or administrator on the last side of this PowerPoint. I will have those email addresses, and then you can report it anonymously through the main page of the Pasco School District. It has reported concern if you scroll a little bit down, so that would be another way. You can also report it with your name on the online system as well. So again, I just kind of want to talk about, this is an often question I get from families, is like, how do you manage bullying? How do you respond? And what we know is that it's really important that our students face consequences and that they address the bullying behavior. So one of the big things we do is a loss of privileges. So times where students are less supervised, breakfast and lunch and passing times, they'll lose those privileges if we're seeing bullying behavior. In class, they might be seated really near to the teacher or be moved to a different class. Intervention, so we do have skills groups that our counselors run. We have a social worker here and a behavior interventionist that helps support students in making better choices about their behaviors. And then counseling, we have Hazel Health and other counseling resources that we can provide students who are showing bullying behaviors. Like I said, we'll change schedules to separate students so that students feel safe, just to prevent the situation. But we have to add those other layers and those interventions in place as well. If bullying continues, unfortunately, we do move to suspension. Like I said, we don't tolerate this. We try to address it. If it continues, we will move to excluding students from school for these behaviors. And then if they continue, we do move students to online school, where we say, you are showing right now that you can't handle being at school. And so that will be our top tier, which is where we say for the rest of this term or for the rest of this year, we'd like you to go online, because we want McLaughlin to be a safe place for students. This is something that I found surprising as I was researching and preparing for these presentations this week. But 1 in 3 teens, and really the teens is the age group we're serving here at MAC, admit to bullying their peers. So I think it's important to recognize that students are being bullied, but also students are bullying others. And what we know is that often when a student is bullying someone, they may be being bullied by someone else. So there's a lot of layers to this issue. This is a signs your child is bullying others. This is really hard for us to see, as parents, as the people who care and love our children. But you might be seeing some of these and they are important to address. So if your child's getting into fights, if they have friends who are bullying others, or you're hearing your child making fun of students a lot with their peers, that's a sign. If they're becoming increasingly aggressive, they're getting in trouble at school, suddenly they have a lot of extra money or some really nice new clothes or belongings. If you're noticing they're not taking responsibility for what's going on, or if they're becoming very, very concerned about their reputation or popularity. And students can have some of these signs and not necessarily be bullying others, but these are signs to watch for that your student might need some support. I liked this graphic, the reasons why bullying happens, and these are the reasons why students feel that they're being bullied, that they look different, that they're not conforming to stereotypes, right? Their skin color, sexuality, having disability, these are the common areas, but the real reason why it's happening is because the person who is doing the bullying needs help, and so we also want to address that. That's why we don't just suspend students, we make sure that we put interventions in place to help our students grow. This is a critical time for our students, and so I liked this graphic as well, just that there's a lot of things going on when you look beneath the surface. And that's not to say that we tolerate bullying. Absolutely not. We have some significant consequences, but we do provide support. So if you feel like your child may be bullying others, don't be scared to reach out to us. We can help keep your child safe at school, keep other children safe, and provide support. So again, what if my child is bullying? That's really hard for us to see. Absolutely reach out to your child's counselor. It's typically a sign your child needs some help. We have access to supports in the community and resources for your student just to really help them develop better ways of coping with what they're feeling, better ways of regulating their emotions and their actions so that they can learn to be kind, respectful, tolerant adults, which is one of our goals here at MAC, right? For our students to be their best selves. I also really liked this. Bullying prevention is the act of stopping something from happening or reducing the chance it will happen. And we really do focus on bullying prevention. Absolutely. We want to address it when it does happen. And we know that with a school of 1,100 students, it's going to happen. So we have to have a plan in place, and we do. But bullying prevention is when people work actively to create healthier communities by modeling and promoting positive social behaviors. And so that comes from the National Bullying Prevention Center. So I wanted to kind of talk about just some of the work that we've done here at MAC from a global perspective to make our campus a safe place. We have school-wide expectations centered around being safe, respectful, and responsible that our students are taught explicitly in what we call MAC 101, which is their advisory class. These are videos that all of our students go through together that show examples and non-examples of what we want to see from our students here at MAC. We also acknowledge and recognize students for meeting those expectations. We have done numerous work this year around celebrating differences. Our students did a number of items and lessons around what makes us different, what makes us who we are, why we should celebrate differences, how differences make us stronger. We had a awareness week around that. We have Hispanic Heritage, where we celebrated Hispanic culture. We have plans to celebrate additional cultures and different differences throughout the year. So I think that's really important. Here at MAC, we have a very diverse community, and that's one of the things that I love to celebrate about our school. We teach our students the zones of regulation. You can ask your student about this. There's 4 zones. The green zone is when you're feeling really regulated and good. Blue zone is kind of sad or down. Yellow zone is when you're anxious or very excited. And then red zone is when you're really feeling out of control. And we teach them different ways of regulating their emotions and how do you move yourself to the green zone. We know that self-regulation is a critical life skill, so that's part of our advisory curriculum here and is used in many of our classrooms. There's posters and resources to help students think about what zone they're in and be able to self-regulate or recognize, even to share. We tell our students, hey, if you're really feeling like you're in the red zone or yellow zone, let your teacher know, so that way they can kind of be aware of that and provide support. Like I said, we acknowledge student success. I think it's really important that we have a plan to address bullying, but we also acknowledge our students that are making great choices. So we have regular recognitions. We are doing a quarterly recognition in grade level assemblies. We have Student of the Month. We have our Panther Store every Friday, so there's lots of opportunities for students to celebrate making the correct choice here at MAC. The biggest thing I think we've made since my time here, this is my second year as principal, is our school-wide cell phone policy. We found that the cell phone was really being used very much for bullying here at MAC, and it's made our campus significantly safer to remove that and remove social media from the school day. And then we have, if you've ever had your student talk about CAFUTI, this is something we really focus on here at MAC. It means keep your hands, your feet, and your other objects to yourself. So basically, stay in your bubble to stay safe. We find that this is a challenging thing for medical school students, but really we focus. One of the biggest things we can do to prevent conflict and to prevent bullying is to keep your hands to yourself. So those are our big things that we've implemented here at MAC. The bottom line, we really want MAC to be a safe place. We really appreciate your partnership. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video and to consider how this information impacts your student and your child, and we're here for you. Whether your student needs help, no matter what, we're absolutely going to support. We want all of our students to be successful. And then I just wanted to provide some really critical people resources if you need to reach out. Ms. Rebel is our 6th grade counselor, Ms. Banta is 7th grade, and Ms. Overturf is 8th grade. We have 3 assistant principals. 2 of them support a student caseload. Andrew Traver supports last names A through L, and Carrie Britton supports M through Z. You can also reach out to me directly. My name is Julia Dudley, jdudley@psd1.org. I'm the principal, and I can absolutely direct you if you're not sure who to contact. We have a behavior interventionist, Heidi Witt. She's excellent. Our school resource officer, if you feel your child's being harassed outside of school, especially around cyberbullying, or if there's an incident that happens outside of school, I absolutely recommend that you contact our school resource officer. And then we have a social worker who's able to refer out to resources and support. So we're very glad to have all of our supports here at MAC. Thank you so much. We're glad you're part of our school community, and have a great day.